What do we do when we're asked tough questions? This week's Deuteronomy or D6 theme comes in Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 29, but the overall theme of the week is a question: who was Cain's wife? And so if you think back to the book of Genesis, the story of Cain and Abel, very familiar story where God accepted Abel's offer but refused Cain's, and Cain became angry and rose up in a field and he killed his brother Abel. And Cain was sent out and distance. He was kicked out. He was removed to go wander the wilderness and eventually had offspring. So we know he had a wife, but the Bible doesn't tell us who Cain's wife was, but we can deduce that Cain and Abel, being the son of Adam and Eve, did not have a distant relative as a wife. In fact, he more than likely had a very close relative as a wife. And so that becomes off-putting in the time we live in, and that becomes a target or fuel for the fodder of skeptics, and it becomes a difficult question that we must deal with as Christians. The Bible always tells us to deal with questions, to always be ready. In fact, 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15 says that we should always be ready to give an answer, a defense, for who asks for the hope that we have. But we all should always do so with gentleness and fear. And so we've established in previous devotions that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And so to know anything, we start with what God has revealed to us. So that being said, this week does not just deal with the topic of Cain's wife, but it deals with mystery. It deals with the fact that God has revealed certain things to us, and He has not revealed other things to us, that some things remain a mystery. And it becomes imperative, important, necessary, that we as Christians trust the God who has all knowledge, that has revealed to us what He would have us to know, and that we trust Him and His sovereignty and His wisdom. And so, reading in Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 29, Moses is trying to prepare the Israelites once again to remember the commandments of God, to follow the commandments of God as they move into the promised land, as Moses prepares to die, and Joshua takes the lead of the nation of Israel, the children of Israel, as they are moving into the promised land of Canaan. He is reminding that though you may not know all of why God did everything, there is a purpose why God does reveal and why He doesn't, and it's always for our good as people who love Him. And so verse 29 of chapter 29 of Deuteronomy says this: "The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things that are revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law." Very quick, easy verse today. Number one teaching point is that we should trust the sovereignty and wisdom of God. Now, we've done a lot of work over the last few weeks, the last few months really, talking about that God is sovereign. He rules over all. There is none like Him. There is no one who rivals Him. There is no wisdom that compares to His. There is no power that compares to His. Not even close. Laughably depraved is what the rest of creation is under this Creator God. There was no one like Him. And we sing songs like that on Sunday morning, right? There's none like You. But we trust the sovereignty and the wisdom of God. And so this says the secret things belong to the Lord our God. The secret things, the things that we can't even fathom or understand, belong to Him because He is vastly sovereign and vastly wise above us. And so that becomes very important and difficult. Sometimes we want to know the answer. Sometimes we want to be the keeper of our own knowledge, the keeper of our own understanding. And the Bible tells us continually not to lean on our own understanding, but in all our ways pursue God. In all our endeavors we pursue God, and that His will be done. And so that's number one, is that we should trust the sovereignty and wisdom of God, which pulls us right into number two. This verse tells us, number two, to know that God has revealed timeless wisdom to us. And so, number one, we trust the sovereignty and wisdom of God. And number two, we know that God has revealed us wisdom. Now, wisdom and knowledge are two different things. I've heard it said that knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. So wisdom requires obedience to actually put into practice the things that God has revealed to us. And so we have more than enough. And so it goes back to my opening question. Whenever we are met with the tough questions, are we willing to search the Scriptures? My hope is yes, but very oftentimes we are not. We're more willing to contrive conspiracy theory or a religion of our own making instead of practicing biblical Christianity, instead of practicing what the Bible has prescribed. We often want to jump to conclusions. We do this around so many topics such as death, about what happens to people's souls. We do this because we mourn our loved ones that we've lost. And sometimes we're not willing, because it's tough. It's a tough question. It's a tough obstacle in our way, death. And we're not always willing to search the Scriptures for what the Bible tells us of death. And so that's just one case in point that I see it very often. But it's really, really important that we do the tough work. That we do the tough work to search the Scriptures, knowing that God has revealed to us wisdom, that God has revealed to us truth, that God has given us answers for us. Deuteronomy 29:29 says, what God has revealed belongs to us and to our children, which brings us to number three. Really quick today, guys. Number three, we find value in pursuing God's wisdom in a generational way. I know it's a lot of words, but sometimes as a husband or as a dad, I become the number one fixer of problems in my home. Instead of relying on God, I want to rely on me. Instead of relying on the wisdom of God, I want to devise a plan and a strategy. This is a practical way, a confession to you, if you will, that we do these things. So what I have to do is have a priority shift. What we have to do is have a priority shift. I need to find value in pursuing God's will, pursuing God's wisdom, knowing that, hey, I might not have the answers to this, but I know God does, and I'm going to pursue what answers He has given me. And I'm going to teach my children, my family members, my coworkers, all that I have influence over. I'm going to show them, hey, I might not know the answer. I might not have it, but I know that God does. And so we're going to search as hard as we can to find this answer. And if God has not revealed it to us, we are going to trust fully that God will work out, because what He has revealed to us, that He will work out all things for the good of those who love Him. And so I'm going to trust fully that since God has revealed that to me, even the things that are mystery to me, I'm going to rely upon Him to work out for the good of me who loves Him. And I pray that you love Him in a way that you understand that. And so number one is to trust the sovereignty and wisdom of God. Trust that He is in charge and He is infinitely wise. Number two, know that God has revealed timeless wisdom to us. There's things we can know. There's things that He has shown us. There's things that we can search for and dig into. And now the doing, and Deuteronomy 29 says that what He has revealed belongs to us, our children, so that we may do what is written in the law, that we may do what is written in His Word. And so number three is to find the value in pursuing God's wisdom based on what He has shown us in a generational way, in a way that influences all in my path, that they may know that I am a pursuer of God and that it is right to pursue God. That's what Moses is telling the Israelites here, is that you are not going to always have the answers, but God has laid us upon this path. It may seem wiser to you that we went back to Egypt, because at least we were fed there. It may be wiser to you that we did not cross the Red Sea, but God made a way. It may be wiser to you today that you pursue other things or worldly endeavors or many different things, conspiracy theories even. But God is continually drawing us as believers back to what He has shown us, to trust Him, and to know that He is working all things for our good because we love Him. And so He loves us infinitely more than we could ever love Him. But we are called to pursue His will, His love, His wisdom. And so I encourage you to do that today. When met with the tough questions, I encourage you to search the Scriptures and to trust in the sovereignty and wisdom of God. This is Brother Daniel with our daily devotion. May God bless.